The rain was a cold slap against my face, but I didn't care. I was running, heart pounding, through the muddy field, chasing a soccer ball that felt like my entire world. My teammate Caleb's voice cut through the storm, sharp and urgent. Elias now. I didn't think, just struck the ball with everything I had, watching it soar past the goalie's outstretched hands into the net. The crowd roared, but all I could see was Caleb sprinting toward me, his grin wide and reckless, pulling me into a hug that felt too warm, too close, for a moment that should have just been victory. We were the underdogs of Seattle's amateur soccer league, a ragtag team of 20-somethings who played for cheap beer and bragging rights. Caleb Harper, our star forward, was the guy everyone loved, 25, broad-shouldered, with a laugh that could light up a room and a girlfriend who cheered at every game. Elias Monroe, was the quiet midfielder, 24, black, with a knack for reading the field and a secret I'd buried so deep it hurt to breathe. I'd known I was gay since I was 15, but in a world of locker room banter and straight teammates, I kept it locked away, especially from Caleb. His easy confidence, his casual arm around my shoulders after practice, made my chest ache in ways I couldn't explain. That rainy night, after our win, the team piled into the Rusty Anchor, a dive bar near Pike Place Market. The air smelled of fried fish and stale beer, and our teammates were loud, clinking glasses and reliving the game. Caleb sat across from me, his dark hair damp from the rain, his blue eyes catching the dim light. He was telling a story about a missed shot, gesturing wildly, and I was trying not to stare. Then his girlfriend, Mia, slid into the booth beside him, her blonde hair tucked into a beanie, and my stomach twisted. She was kind, funny, perfect for him. I excused myself to the bar, needing air, needing distance. "Yo, Elias, you good?" Caleb's voice startled me as he leaned against the counter, ordering another round. His flannel shirt was rolled up to his elbows, and I noticed the faint scar on his forearm from a slide tackle last season. I nodded, muttering something about needing water, but he didn't buy it. "You've been off lately, man. What's up?" His tone was gentle, not pushy, and it made my throat tighten. I wanted to tell him everything. How his laugh made my heart race, how I dreamed about him when I shouldn't. Instead, I shrugged and said, "Just tired." Back at the table, Mia was laughing with our goalie, Tara, about some TikTok trend. Caleb's eyes kept flicking to me, like he was trying to solve a puzzle. The bar grew louder, but between us, it felt quiet, heavy. When Mia stepped away to take a call, Caleb leaned closer, his voice low. "You know you can talk to me, right? About anything." His knee brushed mine under the table, accidental but electric. I froze, my pulse hammering, and managed a weak, "Yeah, I know." The next week, practice was brutal. Our coach, a gruff ex-Marine named Hank, had us running drills in the freezing drizzle. Caleb and I were paired for passing exercises, our breaths visible in the cold air. "You're holding back," he said, kicking the ball to me with precision. "On the field and off. What's eating you, Elias?" I wanted to snap that he wouldn't get it, that he couldn't. But his eyes, steady and searching, stopped me. I kicked the ball back, harder than necessary, and muttered, "Nothing you'd understand." That night, I couldn't sleep. My tiny apartment in Capitol Hill felt too small, the walls closing in with thoughts of Caleb, his smile, his voice, the way he looked at me like he saw more than I wanted him to. I'd always been careful, keeping my feelings hidden behind jokes and deflections. But Caleb was different. He noticed things, how I flinched when teammates tossed around slurs, how I never dated, how I watched him when I thought he wasn't looking. It scared me how much he saw. The following game was a disaster. We lost 3-0, and I missed an easy pass, earning a lecture from Hank. In the locker room, Caleb sat beside me, lacing up his sneakers. "You're better than that, Elias," he said, not unkindly. "What's got you so messed up?" I wanted to scream that it was him, that his stupid perfect face and his stupid perfect life were tearing me apart. Instead, I grabbed my bag and left, ignoring his call after me. Saturday brought a team bonding night at Tara's place in Fremont, a cozy house with fairy lights and too many plants. Everyone was there, sprawled on couches, playing Uno and arguing over music. Mia was out of town for work, and Caleb seemed quieter, sticking close to me. We ended up on the back porch, sharing a beer and watching the stars peek through Seattle's cloudy sky. The air was crisp, and I could feel the heat of his shoulder next to mine. "You ever feel like you're pretending?" he asked suddenly, his voice barely above a whisper. I turned, startled, and found him looking at me, not the sky. His eyes were intense, unguarded, and my heart stuttered. "Pretending what?" I managed, my voice shaky. He hesitated, then said, "Like you're someone you're not. Like you're hiding something big." My breath caught. Was he talking about me? Or himself? Before I could respond, Tara called us back inside for a group photo. The moment broke, but Caleb's words lingered, heavy and unanswered. I spent the rest of the night watching him, wondering what he'd meant, my hands trembling every time he looked my way. By the time I got home, I was a wreck, replaying his words, his gaze, the way his knee had brushed mine. I didn't know what was happening, but I knew it was dangerous, and I couldn't stop shaking. The next morning, I woke to a text from Caleb. "Meet me at Green Lake, 10 a.m. Need to talk." My stomach churned. Green Lake was our spot, where we'd jog after practice, where he'd once helped me up after a bad fall, his hand lingering on mine. I wanted to say no, to protect myself from whatever this was, but my fingers typed okay before I could stop them. The park was alive with runners and dog walkers, the lake shimmering under a rare sunny sky. Caleb was waiting by the wooden bridge, wearing a faded hoodie and jeans, his hands stuffed in his pockets. He looked nervous, which was so unlike him it set my nerves on edge. "Hey," he said, his voice soft. "Thanks for coming." We walked along the path, the crunch of gravel under our sneakers the only sound for a while. I kept my eyes on the water, afraid to meet his gaze. Finally, he stopped, turning to face me. "Elias, I'm going to be real with you. I've been thinking about you. A lot." My heart stopped. I stared at him, searching for a joke, a punchline, but his face was raw, vulnerable. "I know I'm with Mia, and I know I'm supposed to be this straight guy, but when I'm with you, it's different. It's more." I couldn't breathe. "Caleb, what are you saying?" My voice cracked, and I hated it. He stepped closer, close enough that I could smell his cologne, feel the warmth of his breath. "I'm saying I feel something for you. Something I can't ignore. And I think maybe you feel it too." His eyes searched mine, desperate, hopeful, terrified. I wanted to run. I wanted to grab him and never let go. Instead, I laughed, a brittle, panicked sound. "You're straight, Caleb. You've got Mia. This is crazy." He flinched, but didn't back down. "Is it? Because I see how you look at me, Elias. I'm not blind." His voice was steady now, and it broke something in me. I turned away, my hands shaking so hard I shoved them into my jacket. "I can't do this," I said, my voice barely audible. "You don't know what you're asking." I started walking, fast, needing distance, but he caught my arm, his grip gentle but firm. "Elias, please. Just should we give it a try? You and me." Those words hit like a tidal wave, and I was drowning. I pulled away and kept walking, my vision blurring with tears I refused to let fall. The next few days were torture. I skipped practice, ignored Caleb's texts, and buried myself in work at the coffee shop where I pulled shifts to pay rent. But every quiet moment, his words echoed. "Should we give it a try?" I saw his face in my dreams, felt the ghost of his touch. I was angry, at him for saying it, at myself for wanting it, at the world for making it so hard. When I finally showed up to practice, Caleb was there, his eyes shadowed with something I couldn't name. We didn't speak, but on the field, our rhythm was off. passes missing, plays falling apart. Hank yelled at us, but it didn't matter. After, in the parking lot, Caleb cornered me by my beat-up Honda. "You can't keep running from this," he said, his voice low and urgent. "I'm scared too, Elias." But I meant what I said. I wanted to scream that he had no idea what this meant for me, how I'd spent years hiding, afraid of losing everything. My team, my friends, my place in the world. But looking at him, I saw he was scared too, maybe as much as I was. "What about Mia?" I asked, my voice hoarse. He looked down, his jaw tight. "I don't know. I love her, but it's not the same. Not like this." We stood there, the streetlights buzzing overhead, the air thick with everything unsaid. I wanted to believe him, to let myself fall, but fear held me back. "I need time," I said finally, and he nodded, his eyes never leaving mine. "I'll wait," he said, and then he walked away, leaving me shaking in the dark. Time didn't help. If anything, it made things worse. I couldn't focus, couldn't eat, couldn't stop replaying Caleb's words. At the coffee shop, I spilled espresso grounds and messed up orders, my boss snapping at me to get it together. At home, I stared at my phone, his unanswered texts piling up. "Can we talk? I'm sorry if I freaked you out. Elias, please." I wasn't ready to face him, but I couldn't avoid the team forever. Our next game was against our rivals, a team from Tacoma who played dirty. The stands were packed, the air electric with tension. I saw Mia in the crowd, cheering for Caleb, and my chest ached. On the field, Caleb and I moved like strangers, our usual synergy gone. We lost, badly, and Hank tore into us after. "You two are supposed to be our backbone," he shouted. "What the hell's wrong with you?" In the locker room, Caleb didn't look at me. I thought that was it, that he'd given up, and part of me was relieved. But after everyone left, he stayed, sitting on the bench, his head in his hands. "I told Mia," he said quietly, and my heart stopped. "Not everything, but enough. That I'm questioning things. That I need space." I stared at him, stunned. "What did she say?" I asked, dreading the answer. He looked up, his eyes red. "She's hurt. Confused. But she said she wants me to be honest with myself." I didn't know what to say. Mia didn't deserve this, but neither did Caleb, trapped between who he was and who he might be. And me? I was terrified, but his honesty cracked something open inside me. "Why me?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. "Why now?" He stood, closing the distance between us. "Because you're you, Elias. Because I've never felt this way before, and it scares the hell out of me, but I can't pretend it's not real." He was so close I could see the freckles across his nose, the way his breath hitched. I wanted to kiss him, to let go of the fear, but I couldn't. "Not yet. I'm not ready," I said, and it felt like tearing my own heart out. He nodded, his eyes soft with understanding. "I'll wait," he said again, and I believed him. The next week was a blur. I started talking to a therapist, a kind woman named Dr. Nguyen, who helped me unpack years of hiding, of shame, of longing. She didn't push, just listened, and slowly, I started to breathe easier. I told her about Caleb, about the shaking, about the fear of losing everything. "What do you want, Elias?" she asked. I didn't know. Or maybe I did, but I was too scared to admit it. Caleb gave me space, but he didn't disappear. He'd text me dumb memes, show up early to practice to help me with drills, sit next to me at team dinners without pushing. It was torture, but it was also nice. Like he was proving he wasn't going anywhere, no matter how long it took. And slowly, I started to believe it. The turning point came at the end of the season. We'd made it to the league playoffs, a miracle given our rocky games. The final was at a community field in West Seattle, the stands packed with friends, families, and locals. Mia wasn't there. She and Caleb had officially broken up, a mutual decision that left them both sad but honest. I felt guilty, but Caleb insisted it wasn't my fault. "It's about me figuring out who I am," he said. "Not about you taking something away." On the field, we found our rhythm again. Caleb passed to me, I to him, and we scored twice, tying the game. In the final minute, I set him up for the winning goal, and when it went in, he ran to me, pulling me into a hug that felt like the world stopping. The crowd cheered, but all I could hear was his heartbeat, his whispered, "We did it, Elias." After the game, we ended up at the wooden bridge at Green Lake again, just the two of us. The sun was setting, painting the sky in pinks and oranges. Caleb looked at me, his eyes soft but determined. "I'm done waiting," he said. "I want this. I want us. If you're ready." My hands were shaking again, but this time it wasn't fear. It was hope. I took a deep breath, stepped closer, and kissed him. It was soft, tentative, then deeper, like we'd both been holding our breath for months. When we pulled back, he was smiling, and so was I. "Okay," I said, my voice steady for the first time. "Let's give it a try." The weeks that followed weren't easy. We told the team, and while most were supportive, a few guys made it awkward. Their silence is louder than words. Caleb's family struggled, his dad especially, but he stood firm, holding my hand through every hard conversation. I came out to my mom, who cried and hugged me, saying she'd always known and just wanted me happy. We lost some friends, but we gained others, like Tara, who threw us a congrats on not being idiots party. Caleb and I are still figuring it out. We're not perfect. There are fights, doubts, moments when the world feels too heavy. But there are also mornings waking up next to him, his arm around me, and nights laughing over takeout in my tiny apartment. I don't shake anymore, not like before. Now, it's just the thrill of being seen, of being loved, of being us. In the end, it wasn't just about Caleb and me. It was about choosing truth over fear, about daring to love when it's messy and scary and real. And every time I look at him, I know it was worth it.